I've been working on this guitar for 6 weeks. I'm right down to actually being able to play it, and I love it. But it's hard to tune because the tuners are stuck in the peg head. These barrels are rubbing the wood, and it's really stiff, and it shouldn't be that way. I think it's because these holes were drilled by hand. It's a handmade guitar back in the 60s. And we didn't have a tool then like a drill jig that can clamp to the peg head and guide the drill bit, so all the holes are drilled equally across the length of the peg head. So I'm just going to use this as a drill guide and ream them out, and I think that'll solve the problem. If you've worked on many classical guitars or nylon strings in general, you'll know it takes a while to get them on and off the barrels. There's a lot of winding, especially when your string winder doesn't fit on those fancy pearl knobs. But we have a tip for how to take care of that. First, I drill a hole end to end through the winder, and then I saw 2 slots down to the holes to give me a channel on either side. Now the winder will fit around those pearl knobs and any other larger size knobs. It's worth taking the time to make one of these because it sure beats winding nylon strings by hand. Once the strings are removed, I take the tuners out, and then I place the jig over top of the holes using some paper underneath to protect the finish on the headstock. I line the jig up using the tuners as a guide. When it's right where it needs to be, I clamp it down so it doesn't move. Then I drill each of the holes. I put a piece of tape on the bit to act as a depth stop so I don't drill all the way through the middle of the headstock. I do the same thing on the other side to make sure they're all uniform all the way around. Part of the problem on these tuners is that the original holes weren't drilled quite deep enough. I use the tape as a depth stop so I can drill just a little bit further into the headstock to give those tuner posts a little more room to move. When all 6 holes are done, back on go the tuners and they should turn a little bit easier. Yeah, that's what we're after. There we go. That's all I wanted, was to get this guitar in tune. Little thing like tuners can make a big difference. This guitar is really great. These tuners are 44 years old, I think, so if it was my guitar, it's so good I'd put a set of Irving Sloan tuners on it. It's worthy of them.